Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. As the archery seasons around America approach, I feel compelled to actually make a video talking about how to tune your archery tackle for deer season. Now, this is a Samick Sage, and it is available in both left and right-handed designs. Now, the way to get the absolute most out of a Samick Sage is by use of a rest. Not just any rest, but an NAP Flipper 2, which is also available in both left and right-handed designs. But you need to be able to set up your equipment. I also have here a Martin Jaguar Water Edition. This is a very compact bow, and I have a different style of rest on it. This is a brand new bow with a brand new string on it and a brand new rest. And I'm going to show you how you would go about setting up this particular bow. Now, of course, this is my 90-pound Martin Hunter, and it has a hair rest. And I'm going to show you how I have set that up. But first, a little bit of tuning. You may have come across the term brace height. When a bow is strung, it is braced, which means that the brace height is the distance between the back of the arrow shelf and the string. Now, because traditional bows do not have cams or pulleys that you can adjust the tension of them to increase your poundage or decrease your poundage, you do that by adjusting your brace height, the distance between your string and the distance between your arrow shelf. This is a brand new string, and it is at a very low brace height right now. With that being said, though, you'd have to check your user's manual for the recommended brace height. Now, you can measure it with a bow square or a ruler. At this point, I just eyeball it. So you unbrace or unstring your bow, and you twist your string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 twists is normally an inch. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, why would you want to change your brace height outside of to increase your poundage? If you're getting slapped in the wrist, it means that your brace height is too low. So, I didn't bring my arm guard out with me, but archer's tattoo is a serious business. So let me see if I can actually string this bow on my knees here. And so now you can see the distance is quite increased. But there's a problem. I still do not have a nocking point on this particular bow. Now I'm going to take these Carbon Express cam nocking points, get one out. As you can see, that's what it looks like. And I'm going to take my nocking point pliers, put that in my mouth so I don't lose it. So I'm just going to put my nocking point into the pliers while I've got my bow set down to find where level is on my arrow, and then I'm going to move up 1/2 inch and just crimp it onto my string. Now, the reason that I do it like this is because that way, when the vane contacts the rest, it gives it more clearance and room to move around. I find that to be the easiest way of actually tuning for vanes on one of these flipper rests. So now I've got basically a bow that's completely set up. But what I didn't show you or talk to you about is how to actually adjust this rest. You would pop this portion off right here, and then you would thread it in from the back side and set your screw or set your set nut. However, how do you discover where exactly this rest needs to be? Because as you can see, this bow is cut past center. The way that you do that is with the Plumb-Bob Principle. You basically take your bow and hang it from 2 nails. And then, when it is hanging level from the 2 nails on your string, straight up and down, you will want your shaft resting gently against. That's the old school way of seeing if you have your rest centered. It's a very easy way that uses a very old scientific technique that you can adjust one of these past center shot rests and bring it into center. Now what's nice about the Samick Sage is that its rest just adhesives directly on. Now you can see a small channel here where it is cut past center that gives you clearance for one of these wire flipper rests. Tuning a shelf rest. This is a bare hair arrow rest. Now as you can see on my Martin Hunter here, I have the knock of my arrow slightly higher, which is going to give me clearance of my fletching either off of the wire rest or off my arrow shelf. Now as you can see here, I have taken a razor knife and I have cut a channel in here for fletching clearance. That's basically all you have to do with these type of rug rests or hair rests. Now I also have a cushion here that brings this out to center shot. But tuning archery equipment can be incredibly simple once you know the basics. And so far I've basically showed you how to twist up your string to increase your brace height and how to set your knocking point. And I've talked about 3 different styles of rests depending on what bow you actually have. So we're going to see just how well I've actually tuned this up. And I may need to move my knocking point. A little high, but my arrow flight is quite clean. Now just to show that these wire rests not only work with blazers, they also work with the old school long vanes. These arrows I'm a little bit more familiar with. Those arrows were sent to me by a fan. I'm grateful. So those arrows you can definitely tell I am much more familiar with. So let's go down and have a look, because I can't zoom with this camera. My XX75s, pretty much have them all in the kill zone. My Maximas, not quite in the kill zone, but cut me some slack. I've never really shot these arrows off of that bow. But as you can see, none of them are tilted up or down, side to side. So we're pretty much tuned up, at least on that bow. Now I'm going to bring you back here, pull my arrows, and let you see how the sage works out, and test the other rest with both the blazer vanes and the actual old style rubber vanes. Now the reason that we're doing this is because finding feathered arrows can be incredibly difficult and expensive for a novice. But if you can just buy off-the-shelf arrows with a Samick Sage, it takes the elitism out of archery. So here goes the blazers. Clean, good arrow flight directly into the kill zone. And as you can see, when I hold this bow up, I've got my nocking point set about a ½ inch above level. I'm also running this sage, which is a 50-pound sage, at about an 8-inch brace height. So at my full length of draw, I'm really maximizing my power. That last one, I wasn't really paying attention, I'm going to be honest with you. But here's the XX75s. Now I'm not at a terribly long distance, but you wouldn't be starting out shooting traditional archery any further away than this. Now that's some hasty shooting because I'm kind of losing the light, but we're going to go have a look at it. But from what I'm looking at here, and what you may or may not have been able to see, is that with traditional bows of this style, either with an NAP center rest or an NAP flipper 2, you can shoot as accurately as you personally are able to shoot with either 4-inch vanes or modern style blazers. And personally, I like to use feathers, but quite frankly, if you are able to use just regular old store-bought arrows rather than having to make custom arrows, it can take the elitism out of traditional archery. Well, I did manage to keep all of them in the wider kill zone, but I would have preferred to be about right there. And as you can see, the arrows all flew quite true off of my sage. I do have some tuning to do on my Jaguar Water Reaper, but for the time being, I hope this gets you started on the way of tuning your archery tackle for this deer season and deer seasons to come. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at legallyconcealed.org. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you who served in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.